France decides. North Korea arrests. I'm Christopher Cruz. In an election that could affect relations with the United States, French voters today are deciding who will be their next president. Some of the 11 candidates are on the far right, others on the far left. Some want France to leave the European Union, as Britain did, that is. North Korea has detained an American citizen. Correspondent Ivan Watson says the man was working on North Korean relief efforts.
We believe that he, again, according to this report, is an academic, a former professor at a university in China known as Yanbian University of Science and Technology.
Actress Erin Moran has died. We knew her and loved her as Joni Cunningham on Happy Days.
Police in Harrison County, Indiana, said Moran had been found unresponsive after authorities received a 911 call. The cause of death has not been determined. Moran had endured numerous struggles in recent years.
Correspondent Bill Michaels. I'm Christopher Cruz. Wildfires continue to burn across Florida this morning. Meteorologist Derek Van Dam says there's some rain in the forecast, but not enough.
35 active wildfires, over 100 acres, currently burning across central and southern Florida. The National Drought Monitor has 34% of the state under severe drought conditions.
Governor Rick Scott calls it a heartbreaking and challenging time.
This is an extremely dangerous situation still, even though we've had some rain. These fires can change at a moment's notice, and they can move if the wind picks up. They can be very dangerous.
An American aircraft carrier heading toward the Korean peninsula is now conducting a joint exercise with Japanese naval ships in the Philippine Sea. The U.S. Navy says 2 Japanese destroyers joined the USS Carl Vinson and 2 other U.S. warships today as they continued their journey north in the western Pacific Ocean. I'm Christopher Cruz.
After all the sleep you cost your mom through the years, it's time to give it all back. I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. This Mother's Day, give your mom the gift she deserves, great sleep on Boll & Branch sheets. Our sheets are handcrafted from 100% organic cotton. They get softer over time. We guarantee she'll love them. She can try them risk-free for 30 nights. Now through Mother's Day, get $50 off your first set plus free shipping at bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP. That's bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP.
Wouldn't it be great if you could stop crime before it happens? With the Ring Floodlight Cam, you can. I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Check out our Ring of Security kits at ring.com/advantage. That's ring.com/advantage.
The following program is furnished by K1 International, LLC, and is responsible for its content. Now, from the 5th floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
Good morning, Texas. How we doing out there? Welcome to your Sunday morning Inside Real Estate here. Mike Kruizinga, your host for the next hour. Your shining light of all kinds of good stuff here for you. We got a full house. We got a packed house here today. We got Perry Cockrell's in the studio today. We're going to do some legal talk with him. We've got Richard over at Goosehead Insurance. We're going to talk with him, do a little business. We're going to do some life insurance talk with Richard, and then, of course, our friends over at Turbo Mortgages. Sam Trantham is in the house today as well, so we're going to do some mortgage and lending talk as well. Before we get there, we'll get some headlines and talk about all kinds of good stuff on the way. The website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, is the website. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. I have to apologize. I had been a little bit under the weather the last few weeks, so we were slacking off on the old Pinterest page. And I actually looked to see, we're getting heavy traffic on the Pinterest, actually. I looked at that, and I'm like, oh, man, I guess we shouldn't have slacked off the last couple of weeks when I was a little bit under the weather. And so I tried to get some more stories back on there. Usually we put all the stories we talk about on the Pinterest page. And I honestly just didn't notice how much traffic we were getting. So it's pretty good stuff. And so apologize for that, but we're going to get back onto that and get that taken care of. You want to talk to us today, by the way, about anything, whether it's the legal with Perry, whether it's insurance of any sort, or mortgage or refinancing, Texas cash out, real estate, or just want to talk to us and shoot the breeze. 888-787-KLIF, 888-787-KLIF. Couple things happened most recently to me. Let's talk about a little bit of real estate and really why insurance is so important when you're buying a house, and why you do need to talk to Richard, because if you talk to just any big box agent, they're simply going to sell you the cheapest policy. They know you're shopping by the price. They're going to give you the cheapest one, and then just to get the deal done. And here's something that's really common when we're seeing a lot of these flip homes out there. What happens when a home is flipped? What happens when it's remodeled? And obviously we know the wet areas are remodeled. Well, when they are opened up, redoing showers, tubs, removing the toilets, redoing floors, what happens there, folks? Well, the sewer lines are opened up, right? And we got those pipes just open and not necessarily, covered the entire time when remodeling is done.
Mm-hmm.
What could happen possibly when that is done?
They always take all the precautions in the world.
Yeah, right. All contractors do, don't they? Well, remodeling debris can get in there, folks. And so, it's every insurance agent that is supplying a policy on a home should be asking you, the home buyer, these questions. What's going on with the house? And they should reach out to the real estate agent to also, is there anything that we should be thinking about with this house? Was it recently remodeled, etc.? That's a quality agent, a quality insurance agent that's going to ask those questions, because when you buy a home that has been remodeled, there's some things you should put on it. Like, for example, a rider for the sewer line.
Absolutely. Water backup is one of those normal things, or not normal. It's a mandatory, not mandatory, but it's one of those things that I put on every policy, and it's up to every customer if they want it or not. Not everyone does, but it is something that you really should consider, because once that happens in your house, it's going to be a bad day to begin with.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be an even worse day if you figure out that you don't have the coverage because you wanted to save $25, $50.
Exactly. And because it's literally that much for the entire year.
Yes.
Maybe $25, $40. And, and folks, trust me, this is why you want to get with Richard. And unfortunately, this, happened with a client recently. And they found out there was some debris in there. And, luckily, we were able to, get the seller to assist with some of the cost of it, but really didn't have to,
No.
The purchase is done. It's done. And, folks, even when you do inspections, there's differences when, the inspector is trying to inspect the property and they're ensuring that the sewer lines are running and they're evacing. But when you're putting the pressure of a family living in a home on a sewer system, you're going to find out, then when something bad might happen.
Absolutely.
Not when the inspector is testing it with just straight water.
And that's what I was going to say. He's not testing it the way that you're going to put it through the ringer.
Exactly. So you want to get an insurance agent, folks, that can really take care of you and go through talking to you about what's going on with the house, and asking you simple questions like, was it recently remodeled? Because if it is, well, this $25 could save you,
Not just that. I mean, it's
some bucks.
It helps in knowing what kind of coverage you need on your house as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's my little real estate rant for now. We're going to try to run through some headlines. There's a lot going on. And I'm going to start with, wow, there's so much to talk about. I'm going to start with this one. Good old Bill Maher, he's always got some fun stuff to talk about. So he was comparing nerve gassing of the Syrians to the the fact that we're gassing really everybody. Guess what we're gassing them with? CO2. We're killing everybody with CO2. Don't you love that comparison? This guy,
he gives me tired head like none other. All you have to do is say his name, and I'm just sitting there, not again.
I know, right? I had to mention that though because I thought it was pretty comical. What else has been going on out there? Hey, there was power outages in L.A., San Francisco, and New York, all kind of about the same time too, which was a little bit on the suspicious side.
I think it's a conspiracy.
It was a conspiracy. Who knows, though? But having 3 major cities with major power outages, something going on there. Hey, we've been talking about what's been going on over there in Sweden now with kind of a lot of the issues they've been having with some of the extreme radical Muslim issues that they've been having, in particular as it relates to rape. And we know that Sweden is the rape capital of the planet now. A few weeks back, I did that story that was talking about all of the countries that are rated, and Sweden is at the top. And unfortunately, here's one of the reasons why. Here's what happened with a 14-year-old rape victim. Guess what the price of raping a 14-year-old girl is in Sweden? $6,650. That's what the court fined a gentleman who actually he raped the 14-year-old girl. It's actually on video because he took the video. And they said even though she was not consenting and saying no the entire time, and she's a 14-year-old girl, not really. It was not really, So they slapped him on the wrist. $6,650 fine.
You're joking.
No, I'm not joking. This is legit. It's real. Incident occurred on October 4th, and the sentencing was recent.
Now, that's in Sweden?
This is in Sweden.
Now, isn't prostitution legal in Sweden?
Well, rape is not.
Of course. No, it costs you $6,600.
Yes, it does. And I know. It's a good point. Why wouldn't you just go and get you a lady of the night?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway... here's another one. This one only cost $2,800. So another Syrian migrant, actually, Muslim Syrian migrant, raped a minor, and he was sentenced to no jail, because I guess there's nothing wrong with raping young girls. He only got $2,800 fine. So that is why we have issues over in Sweden with rape. So if you want to check those stories out, you can go to the website and check them out. There's some problems going on over there, folks, and it's just unfortunate. I don't know why that's going on. It's pure evil as far as I'm concerned. What else is going on? There was another terrorist attack over in France, and a police officer lost his life. And but Marine Le Pen came out and said, "Hey, she's declaring war on all this, and the radical Islamists have declared war on their nation, on reason and civilization." She says. The absolute opposite. One of her main rivals for presidency, the former Rothschild banker Emmanuel Macron, also former socialist economy minister. He said, basically, c'est la vie is what he said. He said, look, radical terrorism is an imponderable problem, and he said it's likely to be a part of their daily lives for years to come. So a very typical, sort of a French response, which is, it happens, we got to deal with it. On the very other end of the spectrum, Marine Le Pen says, what? Why should we have to deal with radical Islamic terrorism? Why should we have to deal with that? Should we accept that as people, in France? And she's saying, no, we should not. We should stand up and we should fight, and that we should reinstate, checks, and foreigners who are moving in and who are going to commit crimes should be removed. And so it sounds like some common sense from their good old Marine Le Pen.
Are they going to build a wall?
I don't think they're going to build a wall. They're definitely not going to build a wall. and France is so beautiful. I was there in October of this past year, and there for about 5 days. And we went out to Versailles and spent a day in Versailles. And France is just so beautiful. And just absolutely loved it. I've always heard sometimes people go to Europe and they have bad experiences. For whatever reason, the people aren't friendly, etc. We found everybody was friendly. Walk everywhere. And I mean, we really immerse ourselves when we travel, become locals, and
no fear at all.
No fear at all. I mean, you just had a great time. Great food. People are great, and so. I would say this. I would say in the touristy areas, which we find when we travel everywhere, you're always hammered by, people trying to buy something. The thing that we noticed the most was the Somalis. There was a lot of Somalis hammering away at you, in particular around the Eiffel Tower.
Really?
Hammering away at you, trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
But anywhere you go as a tourist, you're hammered away, by somebody to buy something. So, but that was frustrating because it was pretty heavy.
But they're not begging for money.
No, there actually were a lot of refugees.
Yeah.
There were a lot of Muslim refugees living on the street, and they were all in families. It was very sad to see. There's no doubt about that. We did see a lot of that. This was in October when we went last year. But anyway, that's about it for the headlines for now. We're going to take a short break. See you in a few.
Laura Ingram.
Trump was right during this campaign that the country is hungering for something different. Go along to get along is not what the country voted for. You know what they voted for? A real disruptor.
Laura Ingram, 11 till 2 on News and Information 570 KLIF.
Hello, folks. Are you ready to stop renting and get into a new home with only 1% down? Go to turbomortgages.com and view the 1% down video. turbomortgages.com, NMLS 208677, Equal Housing Lender, 5330 Mercedes Avenue, Dallas, Texas.
Folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here with Inside Real Estate Sports Entertainment on 570 AM KLIF. Did you know that virtually all of us will experience a fall in the bathtub at some point in our life? Well, statistically, it's true, and as we get older, a fall in the bathtub can spell disaster, as we just can't recover the same as we did in our younger years. Don't let something as silly and preventable as a bathtub fall put an end to all your special plans you have lined up for your golden years. Invest in a Hydrojet walk-in bathtub. Made in the USA and with the lowest step in the industry, Hydrojet walk-in tubs has your best interest at heart. With no commission sales staff or huge warehouse overhead, they build and sell direct to you, saving you thousands of dollars over their competitors. Call Randy, my friend and owner of Hydrojet Walk-In Tubs at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com. You'll be able to speak with Randy directly, and make sure to mention you heard about it on the radio. And for you veterans out there, there's a grant available for you to cover the majority of the cost of a walk-in tub, making it darn near free. Call Randy at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com today.
Two great signals. One great way to keep up with what's happening in your world. KLIF News and Information, 570 AM and 96.3 HD2.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Yeah, how we doing, folks? We are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. It's time to get a little bit of mortgage talk, and we're going to talk to Sam Trantham over at Turbo Mortgages. His website, turbomortgages.com, turbomortgages.com. What's going on, Sam?
Well, hello, Mike. It's Sunday.
Yes, it is.
Sunday. Is anybody awake out there this early on a Sunday?
They're getting there.
They're getting there?
They're getting there. Well, the sun's coming up earlier, it's helping us get up a little bit earlier, get a little more energy going quicker.
Well, we get here with a lot of energy every Sunday, don't we?
We do.
And the room is full of energy.
That's right.
So let's talk about something that energizes me and you in the real estate industry.
Let's do it.
One of the chief things about how important it is in real estate industry when someone goes under contract is how quick can we close this transaction. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so when the contract is written, the seller always wants to close as fast as possible.
Yes, they do.
They want their money.
Yep.
They want to get the property sold. And many times, I'm sure you found this true, many times that's because they're getting ready to buy a house themselves.
Right.
So there's a domino effect. They have their house sold under contract. They've got a house they're going to buy under contract. Therefore, there's the domino effect. Yep. So that closing date, how do you guys in the real estate industry select a closing date?
Yeah, I mean, well, when we're in a fast market like it is right now, we understand that the seller wants to get out quickly, and generally we're setting it for about 30 days down the line.
Okay.
You know, unless we need to try to make it quicker, or unless the seller does have something else going on where we need to go 45 days, something like that.
But things happen.
Yeah.
Life happens sometimes, and things get in the way of that target closing date.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, the average time, Ellie Mae, and for the people out there who live, north of Austin, Ellie Mae is a national company that says basically average time to close a loan is 43 days across the country overall. 43 days. That's average. Now, that means you can close shorter, you can close longer than 43 days, but that's a national average, 43 days. But most people, most realtors and most lenders, they look at a 30-day target time frame because that's pretty normal.
Yeah, it is pretty normal.
Except if you do your loan with turbo mortgages. Because turbo mortgages, we close most of our loans in 30 days or less. Matter of fact, if you go to my website, you'll see where me, the CEO of the company, I issue a guarantee on my website. If we can't close your loan in 30 days or less, we're going to pay your first month's mortgage payment for you. That's a pretty bold statement, isn't it?
Sure, yeah.
Guess why we can do that?
Because we're closing them.
Because we're closing them in 30 days or less. Now, the reason we can do that is because, Mike, in our industry, in the mortgage industry, it's been changing a lot. And technology now is at the forefront of turbo mortgages and companies like mine. What we do, we've implemented technology in the loan application process and the whole process where it's all done digitally. It's done on your cell phone, on your smart device. And interesting enough, 3 out of 5 people who do mortgages in today's industry use some kind of mobile device for part of the loan application process itself. We do everything through our technology on the front end. We get everything done in advance. I'm talking about pulling the credit, getting all the documents, getting the loan into underwriting, and getting it approved. And then we send it back out to the realtor and saying, hey, you have an approved buyer. All they're waiting for now is to find a piece of property. So when you go out and write a contract knowing you have a pre-approval with turbo mortgages, what that means is you've got an approved buyer. And when you set that closing date for 30 days or less, you can hit that closing date unless something happens, life happens.
Yeah.
Something happens. Now, we got the buyer all ready to go. But something happens. And some of these things that happen that changes those closing dates are out of our control. For instance, an appraisal.
Yeah, appraisals, all kinds of things, negotiations and the inspection. You got to extend the option period for the inspection for whatever reason. You got to bring a different inspector out there.
An inspection happens. Yeah. There's a problem with some of the condition of the property.
Right.
Maybe repairs have to be done here or there. Mm-hmm. Or the appraisal comes back and it doesn't appraise at the sales price. Yep. Things like this that are out of our control. We don't have any bearing on that. We can't change those things. So, but we have a buyer. We're ready to close in 30 days. We issue that guarantee. But if something happens that interferes with that guarantee, then, hey, we can't guarantee that. Mm. But if there's something normal, we can close in 30 days or less. And that's important to the seller, as we pointed out. That seller wants to get his money and go buy the house he's under contract with, right?
Right. Well, and then especially when we have multiple offers and being able to close on time and have a good on time record and guaranteeing. So something like this goes a long way. It's showing, hey, we're putting our money where our mouth is. We'll close this loan in 30 days or less. Mm-hmm. Otherwise we wouldn't offer the incentive. So.
Well, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And it's powerful when you're representing a buyer and you're making a presentation, you're submitting a contract to a seller's agent, and the seller's agent is saying, well, I've got multiple offers on this property, Mike. Why should I take your offer? And the best reply to that is, well, I have an approved buyer right here, and we're going to close in 30 days or less, guaranteed by the lender.
And the lender guarantees it, or they're going to pay the mortgage.
That's right. So that's pretty powerful. And I've seen in multiple offer situations, Mike, where a seller sometimes will take that offer over an offer that may be at a higher price because they're not confident the higher price offer could actually close on time.
Right.
Who knows? But sometimes the seller's agent will recommend to their client, this is an approved buyer. We're ready to go. They've got a guarantee they're going to close in 30 days or less. They're going to hit your target date, which means you're not going to be, affected on the purchase that you're making. And it's only $2,000 or $3,000 difference. Why risk it?
Right.
Because if we run more than 30 days, you might have to make another mortgage payment, seller. If you have to make another mortgage payment, what's your mortgage payment? Your mortgage payment's $2,000 a month. There goes your $2,000 advantage if you have to make another payment.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take the guy that says he can close in 30 days or less.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because every month they're in the house longer, they're losing money, property taxes, mortgage payment, etc. Yeah.
It all equals out. Right, Richard?
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. Folks, all of your mortgage needs, you want to get with Sam over at turbomortgages.com, turbomortgages.com. And what a beautiful website, by the way. It's so intuitive.
Beautiful.
And I'm glad you mentioned the smartphone, the mobile device, because everything has gotten so electronic. And if I'm going to sit down and I'm going to fill out an application for something that's a bit of a process, for me, I'm going to do it on the PC. It's just easier for me to do it that way. But nowadays, you're so right. People are actually using their phone to do things like this. I wouldn't think to do that personally because you got the small little phone, and to me it's just not efficient. But people do it, and a lot of people have just gotten rid of having a PC at home. They just do everything on their phone, and I've seen people do this, and it's a little mind-boggling to me because I love doing the PC for time-consuming tasks, but to me the phone is for the little stuff.
Well, a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people may not have internet access and have that ability to do it on their computer, where everybody has internet access on their phone and can go in and do it from there.
Yeah. I just received on my smart device right now. I just received a message that someone's on my website right now. Matter of fact, they probably went there as a result of this broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's happening here is they go to the website and they start their loan application, and during that loan application, we're going to ask them for certain pieces of documents, bank statements, tax returns, blah, blah, blah. You can take a photo with your phone of that document, and you can create a PDF of that and send it straight to us from your smart device. Now, that's the difference in dealing with Turbo Mortgages and other companies out there, because if you go to a bank and you start a loan application with them, you got to go to the bank. You got to take time off from work, get a babysitter for the kids, go to the bank, set up an appointment, sit down with the banker, the loan officer, and bring in a stack of papers. Maybe you have them, maybe you don't. Then you got to go back. And the banker says, oh, well, you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't have this, and I can't help you till you give me all these documents. Mm-hmm. Now you got to go back home. You got to take them back down to the bank. The banks do not have the technology right now. They have not invested in the technology right now that we've invested in over the last couple of years. And this is something that's happening in the industry. We're just way ahead of where most people are.
And honestly, the big bank industries, the big box banks are moving away from, well, we've had this discussion before, they're kind of moving away from, being that go-to really for the average consumer's home purchases, moving more towards the commercial and other things. They're going to continue to do that, but they're not excited about going out and getting that business because guess what? They're getting that business anyway behind the scenes. They don't want to put the effort up front to write the loan, to originate the loan. Leave that to the rest. So, trust me, folks, you don't want to even go that route.
The difference in a broker. How much time we have left? Minute?
Yeah.
The difference in a broker, which we're brokers. We're mortgage brokers, Mike.
Right.
And that means when you come to Turbo Mortgages, we're going to fit you with a program that fits you. It's like round peg and round hole. You go to a bank, what they do is they say, well, we have a round hole here, but you look square to us. We can't fit you in our round hole. Sorry, we can't help you. You go to a mortgage broker or even an insurance broker like Richard over here, we fit you to the product that best matches your qualifications.
Right.
And that's the difference in a broker and a banker. That way, we don't kick you to the curb.
Yeah, absolutely. We can take care of everybody. Folks, go to turbomortgages.com, turbomortgages.com. Get with Sam. He will take care of you. We're going to take a short break, folks. See you in a few.
The Savage Nation.
If the guy had any brains and wasn't an egomaniac, what he would have done here was send out a dove, not a hawk. Instead, to show how smart he is and how tough he is, he now attacks Pompeo personally and the CIA.
2 till 5 every afternoon on News and Information 570 KLIF.
Far from the shores of home, 2 African-American U.S. Army privates fight for their lives on the battlefronts of World War II. The first Black War correspondents fight to cover the perspective of the black soldier. The novel A Private War, it weaves all this and more into an epic World War II era story of friendship, conflict, religion, and redemption. Get a copy of Private War, a novel by Perry Cockrell today, now available on Amazon.com. And tune in regularly to Inside Real Estate Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m. to hear Perry Cockrell, attorney at law, as he provides expert analysis of the latest and greatest in legal news. Hey folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here, and did you know that the self-employed loan is back? That's right. Since the 2008 crash, the self-employed have been down and out and unable to buy homes due to restrictions with loan mortgages. But now the self-employed loan is back with turbomortgages.com. Our good friends at turbomortgages.com are taking care of all of you self-employed truckers, plumbers, electricians, all of you guys out there. We've got you covered. Go to turbomortgages.com.
Turbo Mortgage is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 208677, principal address 5330 Mercedes Avenue, Dallas, Texas 75206.
If you have a timeshare, this time of year you're probably thinking about those maintenance fees coming due. Hi, I'm Karen Holloway, owner of Lone Star Transfer, located right here in the DFW area. Before you pay your maintenance fees, call us for a free consultation, 972-722-3166. We'll get you out of your timeshare and put a stop to those maintenance fees, guaranteed. 972-722-3166 or LoneStarTransfer.com.
KLIF News and Information 570 AM 96.3 HD2.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
How we doing, folks? We are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. Time to get into a little bit of legal specialization talk with our legal expert, resident expert in all things legal, Perry Cockrell. His website, perryjcockrell.com, perryjcockrell.com. And I've got some great news, by the way. As you know, he is the author of A Private War, which is available in the single edition as well as the multiple editions. You can go to Amazon for that. But good news, the new sequel is coming out. A Private War 2 is coming out soon. And so congratulations on that. Perry, what's up?
Thanks, Mike, and I appreciate being here today. I wanted to talk about this doctrine of what they call innocent purchaser doctrine. That's when you buy a piece of property, you usually rely on your title insurance company, your title company that examines the title for you, and you assume you're buying it free of any claim of somebody else. Right. You don't even think about that.
Right.
It might be a good time for people to start considering looking at exactly where this property's coming from and who actually bought it in the past. Mm-hmm. Because it's a real serious problem right now. There's apparently over 100 lawsuits going on that involve properties that have been acquired. And in the chain of title, there's been a judgment from a court adjudicating title or invalidating a lien, something of that nature. And then the property is being sold down the line. And then these judgments are being overturned. the party to them have gone back to court and have overturned these judgments, and the property's already been sold down the road. And in those cases, you can lose your home because those kinds of the conveyance that involve a judgment, if that judgment's void, then you can lose the property down the road. But let me give you a little history of it, of kind of this area, but it kind of goes back to 1942 when there was a case went to the Supreme Court, and it involved someone who had defaulted on their mortgage on their home, and the substitute trustee sold the property at the foreclosure sale, and then it was transferred 3 times later after that. Now, there was nothing in the chain of title that indicated that that foreclosure was conducted improperly. It doesn't recite that the debt was not in default or was in default. It didn't indicate. So when they examined the title, it looks clear. It's been transferred 3 times. The Supreme Court held that in that case, that, as it turned out, the note was not in default. The substitute trustee actually didn't conduct the sale. Somebody else did. But the property had been sold 3 times down the road, and there had been lenders who'd already loaned on that.
Sure.
And the Supreme Court held, no, that sale is void, but it's void between the property owner and the lender. But since it was sold down the line, those people who purchased, the deed was voidable as to them because they acquired good title by execution by the owner who executed that deed of trust. He created the appearance of good title, and it would be inequitable to permit the owner to show otherwise to someone who purchased in good faith. And as you can see, those parties purchased in good faith because they could not determine that substitute trustee's deed in any way appeared to be void.
Right.
Now, that concept, since 1942, everybody calls it the subsequent purchaser defense. Now, 2013, that subsequent purchaser defense was challenged as well as the innocent purchaser defense. Now, the innocent purchaser is when you buy a piece of property and it turns out maybe somebody else has a deed to the same property. And I've had that very same thing where the owner sold the property twice to 2 different people.
Wow.
Now, one who wins is the one that is a filed of record. The document's proved, it's filed of record.
Right.
And that's what the innocent purchaser doctrine is designed to do, is to protect you from unrecorded interests in the property. And then the subsequent purchaser, as we mentioned, would protect you in case of an improper foreclosure down within the chain of title. Now, here comes this new case from the Supreme Court. It's really 4 years old, and that involved a judgment where the state of Texas obtained a right-of-way for a drainage easement. But in the final judgment, they actually acquired title to the entire property. Now, a year later, the parties were like, wait a minute, that's not what we actually intended. Mm-hmm. So they go and they amend the judgment to correct it, so to speak, so that it's only an easement, which is probably what was originally intended.
What was the deal, right?
However, that's not what the first judgment said. And in that case, you cannot take an amended judgment and call it a judgment done pro tunc and change the substance of the first judgment. And so after they obtained the second judgment, the property owner sold the 10 acres. Now, the state of Texas comes in and the parties the new owner gets in a dispute with the state of Texas, who contends, no, we have title to the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And you have 2 judgments of record, and the second one is void. Now, you see the difference in the first case? You have a deed of the foreclosure that you cannot tell on the face of that deed.
Right.
There's anything wrong.
Anything wrong with it, yeah.
Now, but you're buying in this case with 2 judgments of record. Whoever's examining the title has got to be very good and examine that second judgment to determine what is it doing. If it's substantially changing the first judgment, that's a void judgment. And that's what happened. That second judgment was void. Mm. So in that case, you're not really a bona fide purchaser, or you're not really a subsequent purchaser purchasing in a way that would make it inequitable, because the error in that case is not caused by the party transferring.
Because you can see it up front. you should be able to see up front.
This requires an attorney, title examiner to examine both. So that's so you can lose your title because a judgment is of record, and you take knowledge of it.
But if it wasn't caught, so like the purchaser may not be something obvious. It would be something that the title examiner would be the one to uncover that.
That's exactly right. And you're relying on the title company to examine this title, because if this title fails, title insurance policy is going to pay you the policy limits. But if you have a loan against that property, the money's going to go to the loan, to the lien holder, and you'll get nothing.
Right.
And you might put $50,000 to $60,000 of improvements in that property and be faced with. So I've had situations like that where the property owner buys with there being a judgment. The disclosure sale, when you buy a piece of property, the seller is required to give a disclosure, and it will ask, are you aware of any litigation? And it might say yes or it might no. What you might ask is, are you aware of any litigation by the seller involving the title to the property itself? And if that title has a judgment in an adjudicating title, you really better check that out carefully, because you're bound by it, even though the examination is done by the title company. That examination is done for the title company's purpose. Right. The property owner typically doesn't even look at the chain of title.
Right. Well, and the title examiner, it's not like we ever really talk to the title examiner. They are behind the scenes people. As far as the title company is concerned, we talk to, the escrow officer, and, we don't really talk to the title examiners and the title attorneys that are behind the scenes. So, yeah, you've got to. It just goes to the point of making sure that you know who you're going to be using and that they're reputable.
The other concern I want to mention is if you have to watch out for homeowners associations that are foreclosing on these liens. Yeah. They are foreclosing and sometimes not notifying the superior lien holder. And then some entity will buy this property and question whether there's a lien on it. And they might file a lawsuit against the superior lien holder challenging their lien. And then for some reason or another, the lien holder doesn't answer the lawsuit. And then they get a default judgment that invalidates that lien. And then the property is transferred 2 or 3 times down the road, kind of like because they realize there's this subsequent purchaser defense. It goes back to 1942. However, if that default judgment itself is overturned, then they can argue this other case applies, and you're just not an innocent purchaser. So if you have a default judgment of record, you really have to look at that default judgment and make certain, because that default judgment could be overturned within 4 years. But if the party who sued has never been served at all with the lawsuit or is properly served, they can come back at any time and set that judgment aside. It's not limited by the 4-year rule. And so there's apparently there's lots of lawsuits around the state involving judgments of record, default judgments in your chains. Now the owner needs to be really cautious and might want to ask that question.
Yeah. And it's a big takeaway here, buyers, looking for real estate out there, between you and your agent and the title company, you've got to make sure, ask questions. Is there any litigation going on related to the property in any way, shape, form, or fashion, or any pending litigation? The husband and wife, something going on there, divorce potential, some of those types of things. Or is there something going on within the family as far as ownership of the property and or properties, estate, et cetera, et cetera. So pay attention to that, folks out there. That's good stuff, Barry.
Thank you.
Hey, his website, perryjcockrell.com, perryjcockrell.com. And don't forget A Private War and A Private War 2 coming out soon. Folks, we're going to take a short break. See you in a few.
Glad back. The stuff that is happening in Venezuela is truly terrifying. And what really pisses me off
is the way the press is dealing with this. They're saying that this is the result of a populist presidency.
Glenn Beck, 8 till 11 on News and Information, 570 AM, KLIF.
Folks, it's Mike the Realtor here from Inside Real Estate. And if you're not listing your property with me, bottom line is you're leaving money on the table. There are over 15,000 agents here in the DFW area, most of whom are part-time and do a few deals a year. Do you want to trust them to sell your home? I think not. Call Mike the Realtor, the radio realty expert from Inside Real Estate on 570 AM KLIF. Promise you will get to me direct. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Don't sell your home with just anyone. Go to InsideRealEstateRadio.com and connect with Mike the Realtor.
Attention professional sales reps. What does your future look like right now? Let me tell you what it might look like selling for some of the most recognizable radio stations in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's exciting. It's meeting new people. It's prospecting. It's creating a market plan for a customer and making it work. It's potentially very lucrative. It's taking your future into your own hands. Interested? Send me your resume. Richard.Lane@Cumulus.com. That's Richard.Lane@Cumulus.com. Cumulus is a drug-free workplace and an equal opportunity employer.
Living in the DFW area, expansive clay soil and extreme weather conditions play havoc on homes' foundation. But thankfully, you can turn to Perma-Pure Foundation Repair of Texas, who has successfully repaired over 20,000 properties and counting in the DFW area. With the most trusted, tried and true foundation repair methods, trust the professional staff of Perma-Pure Foundation Repair to take care of your property, and most repairs are backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. Mention Inside Real Estate Radio when calling Perma-Pure at 214-637-1444 or when booking online at permapure.com for your Inside Real Estate Radio discount.
570 AM, 96.3 HD2. That's where you'll find us. News and Information, KLIF.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
How we doing, folks? We are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. Hey, you know, I saw a good movie last night, and I just want to mention this to you because it's called The Founder, you know, about the McDonald's story.
Wanted to see that.
Man, this is a good story. I didn't really know all of the McDonald's story. I knew there was the McDonald's brothers, right? But, you know, they really never got past one store in San Bernardino. And it was really, you know, the founder, as he called himself, who isn't necessarily the founder, but he's the one that created the McDonald's empire that it is today, along with a few people that he met along the way to help him. In particular, one guy who said, you know, you need to start purchasing the real estate on which the franchisee is going to set the store. And McDonald's is the largest corporate real estate holder in the world, if you can believe that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. You guys, it's on Redbox, it's on video. You know, I'm sure it's on Netflix, all that stuff probably. So The Founder, it's a little bit long, but it's a great story. So highly recommend checking that out, by the way.
Fantastic.
What's going on, Richard? Let's talk Richard. Richard over at Goosehead Insurance, his website, richardtagency.com. What's up?
Well, if we're going to talk about Richard, he is doing fantastic.
Good.
My son is finally out of his cast.
Uh-oh.
Oh, my goodness. That was a long 6 weeks. But wanted to talk to everybody today, talk about life insurance. I know it's not one of those things that normally you would hear on an Inside Real Estate Radio, but it is something that you need to think about if you're purchasing a new home, or even if you have a lot of investment homes.
Yeah.
Because what happens if Mike and his wife, he's not married, but Mike and his wife, you're the sole breadwinner or whatever, or let's just say you have two incomes, because most people need two incomes to survive today. What happens if something happens to you? Is she going to be able to pay the mortgage, or is she going to have to sell the house? The way it's set up, your home insurance pays for your home. If something happens, something bad, catastrophic happens to your house, your home insurance takes care of that. You get into a car accident, your auto insurance takes care of your car and getting you back on the road where you need to be. But most people don't think of life insurance as your money insurance. It's your livelihood. It's what is going to be able to take care of all the remaining people in your life that you care about, to keep it to where their life doesn't change that much. Yes, I want them to grieve a lot, for a long time. No,
I grieved the appropriate amount of time, and I'm sorry, but I'm dating again. What was that Seinfeld deal? Or no, it was King of Queens.
Yes.
Yes. I grieved the appropriate amount of time, and then
but your life insurance is that income insurance. So that if something happens, that you're able to take care, your family doesn't have to go from living in Beverly Hills to living in the ghetto. Unfortunately, it's all too often, if somebody loses their life, the family has to sell the house because they're not going to change your mortgage or anything else just because someone passed away. The bank is still going to want their money. Yeah. All your creditors are still going to want their money. They're going to feel bad for you, maybe. But at the end of the day, they still want their money.
Right.
And that's what life insurance does for you. It makes sure that all your the remaining people in your life that you care about they go on the financial and or non-emotional side of their life as normal as possible. And you're saying out there that, oh, I can't afford insurance. Well, look at your house. How much did you pay for your home? If you paid, what's a good opening amount for a new purchase?
Yeah, I mean, well, we don't see a lot under 200 anymore, so I would just say 200.
And that's what I was going to go with, because I quote everyone that I quote for their home insurance. I always ask them about their auto insurance, and I always ask them about flood and life insurance, because again, if something happens, I want to make sure that you're taken care of. You can say, no, I don't tie anything to it. I'm going to shop your auto and your home with 25 different carriers, and I'm going to do the same thing with your life insurance also. So I'm going to give you the best rate, but I'm also going to look at the individual policies, because we all have a different build. And let's say you're 190 pounds. You may get a preferred rate with one company at 190 pounds, or you may get a standard rate with a different company at 190 pounds. It's just knowing which one of those companies is going to give you the better rate over the long term, and going in there and just like the rough estimate, you may get this and it may look great, but knowing that this is actually what you're going to be approved for, because with life insurance, you never really know what your rate is going to be until you go through the process. You have to get rated by the individual carrier to know what they consider you, whether you're preferred, standard, super preferred, whatever, or substandard, or whatever it is, whatever the case may be for you individually.
Right.
Until you go through the process, you have no idea what you're going to be rated as. So once we get you rated, then we know what you're going to fall in line with. And although there may be, everyone knows about term policies, but there may be a few differences in each term policy within the same company. And so just knowing those differences makes all the difference in the world. And let's say you go through Mike, you get your new house. You've got a 30-year fixed rate with Sam, and now you're coming over to me, and we're going to give you the best policy at the best rate on your home insurance. Why not look at a 30-year term? Let's say some people will say that, if I get a term policy, I'm betting that I'm going to die within so many years. Yes and no. You also have term policies that redo a turn of premium. So it's almost like a forced savings account for you for 30 years. So at the end of that 30 years, you're getting your premium back.
Yeah.
How fantastic would that be?
Exactly. And you look at that as another piece of your financial strategy.
Exactly.
So it's not just insurance. It can be, and that is a great product. I love that product because, you're going to get that money back. It's retirement money.
Yes. And everyone's going to tell you that. And life insurance does two things, or is designed to do two things. It's either designed to generate wealth for your family, or it's designed to keep your wealth, so that if something happens, or not if something happens, when something happens, you're going to be protected. Right. It's going to do one of those two things for you if you have life insurance. And like you were saying, I really do. I love the return of premium on a term policy because it kind of takes away. I mean, are you going to pay a little bit more for it? Absolutely.
But it's like you're paying into the 401k
exactly.
or whatever type of financial product. It's just another financial product, really.
Really, it is.
It's a good one because it's guaranteed to get that portion back.
Yes. And
sometimes, depending on the product, there may be some guaranteed interest on it as well.
And one of the things I also tell everybody is when you're looking at your life insurance, more than likely, if you're like most of America, you're never going to be younger or more in shape than what you are today. Now, if you can absolutely without a doubt say that I am going to lose 25, 50, 100 pounds and I'm going to be in great shape, fantastic. Go ahead, go for it, go do it, and we'll get you another policy when that happens. But the chances of that happening aren't that great.
Right.
I've been telling my wife I'm going to lose weight for about 3 to 10 years. It just hasn't happened yet. But as soon as it does, I'm going to get me a new life insurance policy.
There you go.
And so with all the different carriers, with over 20 different carriers on the life insurance policies, you're also looking at all the different kinds of policies, whether it's term, universal life, whether it's whole life, whatever it is, and you have the long-term care or all the riders that you want to add. If there's something that special that you want to do, there's no problem there. It's going through and just knowing what your needs are is what we do. It's one of the founding things that we get to know you as an individual, find out what your needs are, find out what your risk is, what you're really wanting to accomplish with your insurance, and then we make that happen. But going through there is we look at what do you need. I have some people. It's called stacking. Let's say Mike ended up buying a house for $500,000. Mike makes big money. He's got the big house and living the life.
I would never spend that much on a piece of property. I don't spend my money that way. But okay, we'll say I do then.
Okay, so now you're looking at a $500,000 policy, life insurance policy, just to pay off your house.
Yeah.
So that's all we really want to do at this point in time. So in 30, you got a 30-year note. We're not going to give you we may give you a 30-year note for $500,000, or we may give you what's called stacking, which is a 30-year note for $250,000 and a 15-year policy for $250,000, because in 15 years, you're not going to have to pay $500,000 to pay off your house.
Right.
Or you may change that 15-year to a 20-year so that, right. But it gives you the $500,000 right now and for 15 to 20 years. And then at the last 15 to 10 years of the policy or the term of your loan, it's only $250,000. And we try it both ways, where we cut it in half to make sure that you're getting the best policy at the best rate, no matter what it is.
Yeah, no doubt
whether
about
it's
it.
Home, auto, life, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Big takeaway, folks. Look, we talk every week about what Richard can do for you in homeowners insurance, auto, etc. Don't forget he can do all those same things with your life, so don't forget that as well. RichardTAgency.com is his website, folks. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. We are back every Sunday live 8 to 9 a.m. As always, we're out of here. See you next week.
The Richard Tonihka Insurance Agency in Arlington has nearly unlimited resources when it comes to getting you the best insurance rates and policies for home, auto, and more. As part of the Goosehead Insurance brand, you, the consumer, have the power of choice through the Richard Tonihka Insurance Agency Network. Richard can quote over 20 A-rated companies to find the best fit for you, the best policy at the best price. Call Richard today at 817-286-2002. It's the Richard Tonihka Goosehead Insurance Agency, 817-286-2002.
We sometimes live in a world of misinformation that's just not backed up by anything factual. For example, when the new media people like Pandora, Spotify, and SiriusXM tell your marketing people that they're growing and radio is way below them in reach. Factual? More like flat-out lie. Edison Research, the independent research company that does those exit polls for CNN, looked at people's consumption of audio in a single day. The truth? More than 93% of people listen to radio in a week, and more than half of all audio consumed in a day is radio. Want more facts? Only 6% listen to satellite in a day, 6% to Pandora, just 3% to Spotify. Radio is still the dominant adult mass marketing medium, and the 7 Cumulus radio station share in DFW reaches over 3 million people per week. 3 million. Those new media wannabes don't have that kind of reach. Find out more about the Edison Research and the truth about audio consumption at DallasRadioWins.com. That's DallasRadioWins.com.
The preceding program was furnished by K1 International LLC and is responsible for its content.
KLIF Dallas, KSC at Dallas, KSC at Dallas, KSC at Dallas, KSC at Dallas,